We are aiming to be OP, operating profit positive, and free cash flow positive by 2026.
そもそもなぜ日産自動車はこのような苦境に陥ってしまったのでしょうか。
On one end, this is not something new. Unfortunately, this is a problem that we've been carrying for the past, say, 10 years. And what we're doing now is to readjust the size of a company to the size of a reality that we have today.
先日の決算発表では経営再建計画リ・日産というものを打ち出されました。この再建計画のポイントはどこにあるんでしょうか。
The plan is, based on three key pillars. One is reducing our cost structure. The second leg of a plan has to do with the product. Then the third part of the plan has to do with partnerships.
限られた経営支援はどういった分野に投資をしていく予定でしょうか。
We are protecting the critical areas of the business to have a sustainable future. Areas around, you can imagine, the intelligent car, ADAS, autonomous technology, electrification. All these areas we will keep investing on because this is the future and also because this is what Nissan is good about. We will keep investing on this to have a sustainable future.
マイカー歴、これぜひ教えてください。CEO どういう車が好きなんですか。文藝春秋プラス編集長の村井源です。日本を代表する企業トップの熱い思いを引き出すトップインタビュー。今回は今年4月に就任した日産自動車のイヴァン・エスピノーサ CEO にお話を聞いていきたいと思います。5月13日、日産自動車は2024年度の決算を発表しましたが、大変厳しい結果になりました。エスピノーサ CEO はこうした厳しい状況の中、新たにトップに就任したわけですが、この先どのように日産自動車の経営を立て直していくのでしょうか。企業として今抱えている課題、決算発表の場で明かされた再建計画の詳細、そして日産自動車の未来をどう描いているのかなどのテーマで語っていただきたいと思います。それではエスピノーサさん、よろしくお願いいたします。はい、2024年度の通期業績についてですが、第3四半期の見通しに対しては大幅な下方修正となりました。そして5月13日の決算発表ではですね、売上高が12兆6332億円、そして営業利益が698億円、当期純損失が6709億円という結果を発表されました。担当直入にお聞きします。日産自動車の経営は大丈夫なのでしょうか。
Well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me today. Well, yes, it's evident that Nissan is in a difficult situation. The results of FY24 were very far from what we wanted to be. At the same time, we took advantage of FY24 to do a big financial impairment. This is where this big net income number comes from, which is really not a loss in cash, but it's just readjusting the value of the assets of a company to the real value that they have today. We decided to do this because it was necessary and because we are restarting a new plan, as we have announced recently. And this was a necessary adjustment to do so that we can have a lighter fixed cost structure and we can, drive the company into a better future.
現在日産は苦境に陥っているというような見方もありますけれども、そもそもなぜ日産自動車はこのような苦境に陥ってしまったのでしょうか。外的な要因もあるとは思うんですが、日産固有の具体的な要因というのをどのように捉えていますか。
Well, there's several things. On one end, this is not something new. Unfortunately, this is a problem that we've been carrying for the past, say, 10 years. Back then, management in Nissan planned the company to reach a volume of around 8 million units. And due to this, there were a lot of investments made in capacity, both in vehicle capacity as well as powertrain capacity, as well as human resource. The spending structure of a company grew. And unfortunately, the volume of the company didn't reach the 8 million. And what we're doing now is to readjust the size of a company to the size of a reality that we have today.
現時点でですね、日産自動車が抱えている最大の課題というのは何だというふうに考えていますでしょうか。
Well, there's multiple. We've been talking only about the challenge of a financial situation. There are other difficulties that we have. We are having also a big transformation in terms of culture. We are addressing the speed at which we develop cars. We're addressing company employee morale. So there's many challenges that we have. But we have a new team in place, a team that is committed. We have the right people to do this plan. We have the right resources needed to do this plan. And we have a very interesting product portfolio for the future that will help us drive the plan forward. Yeah.
非常に厳しい時期での CEO 就任です。46歳という若さでの大抜擢だと思いますが、打診された時に迷いはなかったのでしょうか。またどういう思いで CEO に就任されましたか。
No, this is a very good question. Personally, I didn't think for too long. And why is this? Because I've been dedicating my life to this company. So I joined Nissan 25 years ago almost, right after I finished engineering school. And I have dedicated my life to this company. This company has made me as a professional. This company has given me many opportunities to travel around the world, to do many different types of jobs. And as such, I feel a deep responsibility to help the company come back where it needs to be. With that said, of course, this is a difficult decision to take because of family impact as well. So I discussed this with my family as well. And after discussing a bit with my wife, and also she recognizes what Nissan has done for us. So she said, well, let's do it. If you feel you are ready, let's do that. And I have her full support and commitment to this.
ぜひ CEO 個人のこれまでの人生についても伺っていきたいなと思うんですが、どのような子供時代、学生時代を過ごしてこられたんでしょうか。
Well, I come from a family of engineers. So my grandfather was an engineer, my father was an engineer. So you can imagine I was raised around cars, you know. I spent some of my weekend working on cars with my father, like changing brake pads and changing spark plugs and changing, brakes, suspension systems, and a bunch of other things. And I learned a lot about cars, and these really grew in me. And this is why I decided to become a mechanical engineer and work around cars. And, it's been an interesting journey for me since then.
大学を卒業された後にですね、一社を経て20代ですぐ日産に入られています。なぜ日産自動車という会社に就職しようと思ったんですか？
I come from Mexico, and in Mexico, Nissan is today is the leader in the market, but back then was not, but was one of the biggest companies in Mexico, for cars. So when you come out of college, you have some options, and Nissan, of course, ranks at the top. But one specific reason that made me move into Nissan and actually started to bring my love for Nissan was when I discovered a car, the 300 ZX, which is called a Z32. I was probably 14, 15 years old. It was the early 90s. And Nissan back then was known as a company that made reliable, trustable cars, but not for technology or performance cars in Mexico. So when I saw this car, I was like, wow, what is this? Yeah? I was really impressed, starting by the design, the simplicity of the car. Then I started to read about the technology that this car had. When you open and look at the interior, it looked like a fighter jet. So it was really amazing. And I was shocked to see that, this is Nissan. I was really impressed. I didn't know that Nissan had this engineering capability to have a car that can compete with the top German cars of the time. And this really changed the way I saw Nissan. So when I came out of college, this was definitely one of the companies to go for. Yeah.
そんなエスピノーサさんですけれど、ちょっとこれぜひお聞きしたいのが、マイカー歴。これぜひ教えてください。CEO はどういう車が好きなんですか？
Well, I drove many cars. You can imagine, I've driven many cars in my life. But for me, the interesting thing about cars is to try and understand the story behind the car. After I started working in planning and working around product development, I understood that every single car has a story behind, a story that you can understand once you spend some time driving a car. And the cars that I like the most are the cars in which the story behind how the car was designed and how the car was planned is clear and is evident. When you sit and drive the car, you immediately know, engineers were thinking about this, about that, and they nailed everything. This is for me the most interesting thing about cars. That's why I love many cars. Of course, I love sports cars, but not only. I love many, many different cars, especially, again, the cars that have a clear story that is showing how the car was built and how the respect for the customer needs was reflected into the car.
そんな CEO ですけれども、先日の決算発表では経営再建計画、リ・日産というものを打ち出されました。ズバリお聞きしますが、この再建計画のポイントはどこにあるんでしょうか？
Okay, the plan is, based on three key pillars. One is reducing our cost structure, and this goes around fixed costs and also goes around variable costs. So we have embarked a team that is looking at restructuring and resizing our operations. As I said at the beginning, we did this big impairment, but we're also resizing the overall structure and manufacturing footprint of the company. As mentioned, unfortunately, there were decisions made 10 years ago that pushed the size of the company to a size that we cannot absorb today. And as such, now we are adjusting this. The second part of the plan goes around variable costs. Yeah? And we have another team that is looking into variable costs and reinventing and transforming how we make cars. Yeah? This pillar is, again, working with suppliers, working with our own engineers, and reducing the variable cost of the cars to make our cars more competitive. Then the second leg of a plan has to do with the product, yeah, and how we are going to address the different products and the different markets in which we operate. We have redefined the priorities in which we will prioritize our own Nissan engineering resource, which are those segments and those markets in which Nissan operates and has a strong presence. You can imagine easily Japan, the B and C segments, the US, and also doing frame products in which we are very competitive. So these are the areas in which we are focusing our own engineering resource. And then we are also readdressing the way we approach the markets. We have defined some key priority markets, again, Japan, the US, the Middle East, Mexico, Latin America, some markets in which we are operating in a very strong way, and we have defined key strategic actions for each of them. And then the third part of the plan has to do with partnerships. And partnerships, we're using them to complement our portfolio. Areas in which we don't want to invest because we don't see the need. We don't want to distract our engineers with small opportunities or small markets. And in these areas, we're using our alliance partners like Renault and Mitsubishi. And also we are discussing, of course, with Honda, yeah, to collaborate more and keep finding opportunities for new project collaboration. So this is, in summary, the three areas of the plan. We are aiming to be OP, operating profit positive, and free cash flow positive by 2026. This is the goal that we have given ourselves. And to get there, the target of cost saving is around 500 billion yen. So we are aiming to reduce 500 billion yen in costs in the next couple of years.
5000億円のコスト削減という話が今ありましたけれども、一部の主要のメディアでですね、神奈川県にあるオッパマ工場、それから日産車体のですね、湘南工場の閉鎖検討などが報じられました。この報道もありましたけれども、リストラ策というのはどのように進めていかれる予定なんでしょうか？
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of speculation about this in the media recently. And first, I would like to apologize with the people that is reading this because I understand this is creating a lot of anxiety and confusion. What I want to tell them is that we will be very transparent and clear in the process. We will communicate with everyone, not only in Japan, but globally with all the stakeholders, the local governments, to make sure that everyone understands our plan. We will try to be as clear and quick as possible so that we minimize the anxiety that this is generating today. And we will also be very responsible. We will be supporting people, all the affected individuals. Because of this transition, we will be supporting them and working hand in hand with the government so that we are providing the right support, the right resources that are required. And eventually we will start having, town hall meetings, open meetings in order to inform the steps and how are we going to do the restructuring that we need to do.
リストラの一方でですね、新たな経営資源を分野に投資して成長していくということになると思いますが、限られた経営支援はどういった分野に投資をしていく予定でしょうか？
Yeah, well, this is a very important question because I want to be clear that we are not stopping investments on the strategic areas of the business. We're working to optimize the costs, and we are working to optimize areas of the business that are not bringing enough value anymore. But at the same time, we are protecting the critical areas of the business to have a sustainable future. Areas around, you can imagine the intelligent car, ADAS, autonomous technology, electrification. All these areas we will keep investing on because this is the future, and also because this is what Nissan is good about. We're good at creating, products with new technology and bring innovation to the market. So we will keep investing on this to have a sustainable future.
まさに新たな領域という点でいうとですね、今の商品戦略としては、今年新型リーフの発売を予定していると思います。この新型リーフという車の特徴とですね、CEO の思いをちょっと教えていただけますでしょうか。
This is a great car because it's completely reinvented, yeah? So it's a mix between a crossover and a very advanced aero design. And the car was centered around this exactly because we understand energy efficiency is very important for an EV. And we gave our designers and our engineers a very aggressive target of aerodynamics. So this car will be the most efficient car in the market in terms of EV. It looks a bit like a water drop, yeah? It's very nice. Once you see it, you will be amazed. It's very roomy at the same time. Even when it's compact, it's very roomy. And it has a very nice twin display inside. Two big screens of 14-inch to show every information around the car, the navigation system, the status of the car. It's very silent, it's very smooth, and I'm sure our customers will love it.
あと日産自動車といえばですね、独自のハイブリッドシステムの e-POWER ですよね。で、これについては新世代 e-POWER というものを開発されたそうですが、この新世代 e-POWER の特徴というのはどこにあるんでしょうか。
Yeah, well, we are just about to launch the third generation of the e-POWER. And after all this first and second generation, there's been a lot of learnings for us in terms of how the system should be improved. The system is more quiet now, so it feels like you're really driving an EV. You almost cannot notice the combustion engine that is charging the battery. It's a car that is completely driven, or the system is completely driven by the EV motor. So it's not, you don't feel like the ICE, combustion engine feeling. It's really like an EV, very silent, very smooth. And with this third generation, again, it's more silent. And we have improved the fuel economy greatly, particularly in highway speeds. So the first car that will be equipped with this system is our Qashqai in Europe. And we have run some fuel economy tests, and we have found that we are going to be in the top level in terms of fuel economy, including highway fuel economy. And then the system will be also equipping the next generation all-new Elgrand that will come to Japan.
あとですね、2025年の8月で、これは名車として人気のあるですね、Gt-R の生産を終了するということです。これファンがたくさんいる車ですから、非常に彼らはその悲しみそうではあるんですけれども、この Gt-R という車に対する CEO の思いを教えていただけますか。
Well, yes, you're right. Unfortunately, we will have to stop the production of the Gt-R later this year. But we're working very actively to reimagine what can come after. It's one of the nameplates that are core in our DNA of a company. So you can imagine easily we are not going to let go of this car, and you can, expect to see something coming later.
あとですね、CEO は就任前の3月に、ホンダとの経営統合についてですね、再協議は排除しないということを発言もされていました。今後の提携戦略については何か考えていらっしゃることはあるんでしょうか。
Well, we are working very actively with them. Since last year, if you remember, we started to work in several projects with them, and those projects have never stopped. So we kept working with them. In my previous role as the chief planning officer of Nissan, I was, talking to them every week, discussing about projects, and this has resumed. We keep the discussions very active. At the same time, we are in parallel, separately from this, project discussion, running a strategic review process in which we are assessing different companies and seeing who could be the best partner for Nissan's future. And because of this, we are not, discarding any potential discussion later on with Honda. But not only, we're looking at many companies, and as I said, we will discuss and engage with those partners that are creating value for Nissan in the future.
日産自動車がですね、未来の社会に向けて貢献できることたくさんあると思いますが、CEO は何だと思いますか？
Well, there's many things. I think when you look at the technology that we have, starting with electric vehicles are a fundamental piece of the future because they can help manage energy and efficiency in a much better way. The electric cars of the future will be capable of exchanging energy between the grid and the car itself. And this can provide a lot of efficiency, a lot of savings, and help us bring a carbon neutral society. So this is one of the great contributions that EVs can do. And Nissan has all this technology. Another area is autonomous technology. And for autonomous technology, you can imagine many of the contributions to society. On one end, allowing people, aging society, to take the example of Japan. In Japan, there's, the society is gradually aging, and they will have mobility needs, of course. And you can imagine that in the future with level 4 technology, we can provide these mobility, solutions to people that cannot drive because they are aging, and that anyway they need some mobility. So this is one of the areas that Nissan can contribute. And of course, making a world that has zero accidents. This is our dream, or one of our dreams with our autonomous drive technology, to bring the society to a zero fatality state. So there's many things that Nissan can contribute to society.
ありがとうございます。今日いろいろ話を伺ってですね、本当にこの先日産自動車どうなるのかというのがすごく楽しみになってきたんですが、最後に一つお聞きしたいと思います。エスピノーサさんはですね、CEO として、会社を引き始めたわけですけれども、この先日産自動車をどのような企業にしていきたいというふうに思っておられますか？
Well, I want a company that brings happiness to their customers. Yeah, for me, the biggest satisfaction is to see a customer that smiles when they are using a product or a service that Nissan created. And this is for me one of the greatest rewards as a professional. The other area is I would love a company in which people feel proud and happy to work in because they are making customers happy. Yeah, this is for me one of the biggest fulfillments as a professional, and this is what I will dedicate my life, the coming years of my life into. Yeah, to make Nissan great and to have a very nice company that customers love and care about.
ありがとうございました。今は大変厳しい状況ではあると思うんですけれども、今日エスピノーサ CEO のですね、お話を伺いまして、日産自動車の未来は明るくなっていくんではないかなというふうに思いました。今後の日産自動車がですね、どのように進化していくのか、非常に楽しみにしております。ということで、本日はお話をお聞かせいただきましてありがとうございました。
Thank you. No, on the contrary, thank you for having me today. Thank you.